Game Time live at the NBA Finals as Game 4 about to get underway. We'll get you up to tip as the fans file into a building they hope is not a swan song for their team or possibly for LeBron as a Cleveland Cavalier. It is Game Time presented by YouTube TV. Welcome on the floor here at the Q. Casey Stern, Grant Hill, Chris Webber, Sir Charles down on the end. Chuck, I'll start with you. I've heard you do the slim and none joke about 17 times in the last 48 hours. Have you changed at all, or are you still saying there's no chance any Cavalier fan should even watch this game tonight?
Well, they got to watch the game, number one, just because it's the finals. The Cavs are not going to win tonight. I'll be totally surprised if they're able to win this game. I mean, I think they resound to the fact that they're not – I mean, because you go back to Game 3 when they were down 4 with 30 seconds ago, they didn't foul. So I think everybody knows what's going to happen here tonight. You know, there's a couple of people saying, well, remember last year they came back and won Game 4, but that's because Kyrie had 40 and LeBron had 40. Kyrie's not walking through that door.
Webb?
I agree with the Chuckster. I think it's over. I thought that the Cavs had to win Game 3 in order to stay in this, and I just think tonight I think it could get, if you want my honest opinion, I think it could get ugly really quick, depending on the will of the Warriors, knowing that, you know, they can go home and just, when they land, have a ticker tape parade. It just seems like they have the energy and the momentum. If it's one player you don't want to doubt, it's LeBron, but this is a team game, and right now it just looks like the Warriors and the unguardable Kevin Durant and the Splash Brothers just have the upper hand, G.
Yeah, Webb, I agree with both you guys. I mean, I said last time we were on here Wednesday night, not to count out LeBron James. They've gone through so much adversity this year. Their backs have been against the wall. People have counted them out in the postseason. They managed to keep moving forward, advancing, getting to the next round. But they can't win. I mean, they gave their all in Game 1 and Game 3, and I think it's deflating.
Yeah,
when you get that close and you have your opportunity, at least you feel like you do, and you still lose. And, oh, by the way, the Splash Brothers didn't play well, and you know one of those guys.
Oh, man, they shot terribly. Yeah, right?
One of them, maybe both of them.
Here's
going
the
to have
thing.
a good game tonight.
Let's remember this. Clay sat next to us after Game 3, and very honest, which is why I love Clay, he just said, hey, look, we only got 21 between the two of us. That's got to hurt. They lost anyway. He called it a night off. Shooters, I shouldn't ask Chuck, but I'll ask him. I'm looking at you. If you were a shooter, those guys normally don't have back-to-back games like we saw from the Splash Brothers in Game 3.
Well, let me just say this one thing, and I shouldn't say this because it wasn't on camera, and I apologize to Clay if he gets mad later because it was something he said in private, and I don't know if he wanted to go, but I got to say it. We asked him, hey, Clay, how's your knee? He said, oh, I'm good. We only got one more game. But listen, man, those guys are not going to shoot that poorly again. And, you know, I actually wonder about LeBron's mindset, to be honest with you, because as great as he is, he has to be saying, I can't dominate these guys 4 times in a row. Now, I actually like that outfit right there.
Would you wear those pants, Chuck?
I would not. He maybe he's expecting a flood. You never know.
You're out of your mind.
No, hey, listen, our day those were called floods. We did.
What's in our day?
Yeah.
You're embarrassed
You're
to
the
wear
oldest one here.
sure.
I am, but these guys know what floods were.
Yeah.
We used to always say, put some sugar on your shoes to sweet talk your pants down.
I've never heard that one before.
You talk about the mindset. Let me ask you guys. As athletes, I think we all admire the fact that you guys are able to zone in regardless of what's happening off the court or off the field or ice in another sport. But, Webb, for you, LeBron walks into this building. He knows there are a lot of questions looming after this game if they lose. He probably still not aware, depending upon what happens, where he's going to go. How does he eliminate all of that when he comes into this building and prepares for Game 4 tonight?
It's going to eliminate itself. I was a free agent in Sacramento. We were in a playoff series. We were going to lose the playoff series. We were down 3-something, and coming into that game, everything just takes care of itself because you really can't get anything done thinking about next year or tomorrow. And he's one of the best athletes, one of the best mental minds in this game. And so I look for him to go through his regular routine. That's where routine comforts you and doesn't let all the other stuff get in your head. The fact your knees are hurting, you have to heat up, you have to ice. G Hill, you still have to get taped and sit on the training table, talk to players. So to me, I don't worry about him at all, not being focused. And he's been through this position, 2 or 3 times already. So I think he'll be homed in. But again, as Chuck said, to know, as a player, you know the truth about yourself and the other team, and it's going to be tough to dominate this team 4 games in a row. And even if he does dominate with another 50-point game, will that be enough?
And Webb, you said it best. With all of us up here have been elite players, with the exception of Casey. And we've been in that situation where regardless of what's going on in our life, regardless what the future holds, you can compartmentalize that. And when you get to the gym, when you get to the arena, you're focused on competing and playing to win. LeBron James, as Chris said, has been in this situation before, has had a last game where he ended up going to a different team. He'll come out, he'll compete, he'll bring it all in the first half. I do worry, though, if they get down big.
Yes.
If it's a big, 15, 20-point a situation where they're down at halftime, it may be a little different in the second half.
Quarter, it could be like
What's going to be interesting is the crowd.
Yes.
Because walking around Cleveland the last couple days, these people think they're going to a funeral. I mean, and I feel bad because I think this is one of the most underrated cities in the world. And you can't watch television without these idiots on TV talking about, well, LeBron gonna go. Like, they're already assuming he's gone. I mean, it drives me crazy. None of these guys have any clue what LeBron's going to do. I don't even think LeBron knows what LeBron's going to do, to be honest with you.
Right?
But like I say, I'm on the record. I hope he stays here. This is a wonderful city. Like I say, he can go other places and win, but it won't be the same. To have a hometown kid, be one of the greatest to ever touch a basketball, and I just hope he stays here. But it's going to be interesting on the crowd because if you turn on the television really in the last 3 to 4 months, it's pretty much a consensus, and I hope not that he's gone.
A lot of things to watch in the fourth quarter if they're down, including chants from the crowd about one more year or stay or who knows what, and how does he get handled in terms of this tie? Take him out early if they're down big to get an ovation. Do you not think about that? How does all that get handled? With more on the Cavaliers, here's David Aldridge.
Thanks very much. Now, the Cavaliers, of course, said all the right things after Game 3 about not wanting to have their season end at home and knowing that they can just get back in the series with one win. But the reality is that the mood here is not quite as buoyant as it was coming into Game 3. Now, Cleveland can build on things like Rodney Hood's performance, 15 points off the bench and getting an opportunity to play. But as JR put it, the Game 3 loss was very difficult, especially coming at home. This is a team that's given its all in Games 1 and 3 and has yet to make a mark in this series. But they have LeBron James, and they are at home, and they have a resolve not to have their season end tonight. Back to you.
All right, DA, thank you. Teams down 0-3 in the NBA Finals. You could try and extend things like the Cavs did last year, but it eventually goes the other way. A lot of that, guys, comes down to talent. You all talked about it. If you didn't hear it, for those of you at home, listen to the way LeBron put the difference in the talent of the two teams yesterday.
The room for error versus a team like this is slim to none. And I think I said last night, it's like playing the Patriots, it's like playing San Antonio. The room for error is slim to none. And when you make mistakes, they make you pay because they're already more talented than you are. But they also have the minds behind it, too, and they also have the championship DNA. So,
you know, people want to get on LeBron for everything. You guys know this because you all were in that spot where you get all the criticism and all of the praise and on both sides. Why are we mad at LeBron for being honest? And I saw this from people last night. Because, he says, hey, look, if you put their best 5 and our best 5, they're a more talented team. They got 4 Hall of Famers on the other side. Does anybody not know that the Warriors are a more talented team than Cleveland? Come on.
Well, I mean, that is the truth. I don't think you want to say that when you're in the middle of a series. Yeah. You know, that doesn't empower your teammates. Yeah, you don't give confidence to your team when you're out here saying, and look, LeBron, I give him credit as a kid who came right out of high school into the NBA. I mean, he's pretty much done and said all the right things.
Yes.
Very, very well composed, polished, understands the big picture. But in that situation, you're almost conceding that or giving yourself an out. I think in that situation, you want to be a little bit more confident and not saying that kind of thing.
What do you want to hear him say? What would you say in that spot, Will?
He doesn't have to answer the question. He's LeBron James. And there's never been an athlete that had to answer more questions, and I mean about his play coming in. He had a $100 million contract before he stepped 1 foot on the court. and he's answered this. He's our first social media star, and so he's been asked more questions and put in more positions, but it's still a team game. And when you start to talk about other players in your team while you're starting to play, that's something that leaders do not do. And I think that maybe the fans take it out of perspective, but just for us, it just doesn't sound right having been a teammate. And I'd like to ask Chuck one question if I could. Chuck, I know you're going to answer this about what James says, but lately I've been hearing a lot. You made the comment, Chuck, that LeBron is now going to have to deal with what he started, the super teams. Yeah. Do you think that you were a part of the super teams when you did Houston? Because everyone says, well, you started the super teams, or it was started before. Kind of explain what you mean to the people about that.
Well, first of all, I got traded to Houston. I had no control. First of all, we were all 50 years old when I got traded to Houston, but I got traded there. I didn't get with guys over the summer and say, guys, we're the best players in the league. Let's get together. That never happened. I didn't want to get traded to Houston. The Suns traded me. But, LeBron has to, he has to say, man, I did start the super team. He did start the super team. Now it come back to bite him. And all these guys, it's going to be interesting, not just now, but for the NBA the next couple of years. Because the one thing we don't want is a non-competitive league. That's not good for everybody. Because we can't keep disrespecting the fans. There is some loyalty. People say, if we don't owe the fans, then we owe the fans a lot. But when you see, you look up here, man. There's so many 23 jerseys in here. Even Michael Jordan, who's the greatest I've ever seen, or Magic Johnson, I didn't see any one player have as many jerseys as these kids, 23 we have here in Cleveland. These guys love this guy, and the thing is, he's a homegrown hero. So he means so much to this city, to this community. He left one time and he wrote that great letter about what Ohio means to him. Well, if it means that much to you, stay here and finish this journey. You don't have to win the championship. I mean, you can be really good and great and be competitive, but you don't have to win the championship.
Chuck, not to interrupt, but I got to ask you about that, because aren't we being hypocritical? We're saying, and look, I'm with you. MJ's the best that I've seen, right? So if we're saying, well, to be the best, you got to go win more championships.
No, we
right?
never said that. You said only guys in the media say that.
Yeah, guys that never played. We don't say that.
Okay, well, unfortunately, and I know this is crazy, there are more people that are fans in media than guys who played.
Right, but you're saying that we said, and you're asking us as players.
My people, the average Joe.
So the players don't agree. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Players, I don't challenge his greatness because he didn't win a championship. Because I could name you a lot of players that went and sat on the end of the bench and got a ring.
Sure.
So we don't look at it in the same way. If you win it in your prime, it's different than winning it late with some other players. Are you driving the bus? That's
really
the
a bus
question.
rider.
Right. Or are you a bus rider?
Or are you following?
And it's so for guys, if LeBron would have stayed here and only won 2 in his career, to me, that would have been almost equivalent to Jordan winning 6 because of the situation and the teammates
rather than him going web to Miami.
Yeah, so for the fans, I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
The media portrays that, not the players right. But we're the players, so how we judge each other, I think, they have a little more credence.
No, I get that.
If LeBron goes to Houston, and win a couple more championships with Chris Paul, it won't be the same as winning 1 or 2 here. If he you hear this well, if he goes I hear all the rumors. If he goes to the Celtics, winning in Boston won't be the same as winning in Cleveland. Going to Houston won't be the same as winning 1 or 2 here in Cleveland.
Yeah, the bottom line is they're both right. Look, whatever he does from this moment forward, if he stays here in Cleveland and never wins again, he's cemented his legacy.
Yes.
His legacy, what he has done, his body of work. And so I don't think it really matters. I think for him, and Chuck says it best. You're from here. He's inspired this whole city, this community, this entire state. You think about it. If he were to leave, you want to stay in the East.
Yeah.
And then where would you go where you can really, kind of have it like you have it
here? We were
here?
talking about this upstairs.
Yeah, so I just, I think it's good for the NBA. He's here in this market. I think it's great for LeBron. It's a mutually beneficial situation if he stays here. And I think at the end of the day, once the dust settles and he makes his decision, I think there's a real strong chance he does stay.
Go ahead.
Listen, let's get one thing straight. You hear all this stuff. If you go to the Lakers, they ain't going to be no good.
No, they're not going to be good.
They're not going to be good.
I want to ask you guys something just before we break. The onus of being a torchbearer, as you guys were in your own generations playing, it's something where when Webb, you talk about, and Charles does, what he means to the NBA, how it's not good for the NBA, obviously, if he just jumps. Did you guys feel that, I don't want to say burden, but that obligation as representatives of the NBA, should LeBron think about that aspect of it when he's making his decision?
Well, from my point of view, I think Chuck was in that kind of that
Sure.
era. As far as me, I wasn't in that era. But as far as to say, do you have that pressure? Yeah, everybody wants to win the championship, but at that time for me, it was just different.
Right.
If it was today, oh yeah, I might have gone to San Antonio and played with Tim Duncan. But then it was an honor in losing against the other bus driver.
The competition.
The other bus driver, not the other competition of the other bus driver for me. And so that was what was most important. And that's why we look back at careers and say, wow, Chuck, you lost to Jordan, but, man, y'all won 2 there. And how did you win 2, in Chicago in that series? You respect the player's journey. You respect how hard they work. You respect their decisions. Like Grant said, if he goes and plays with all of his friends, that's fine. It's just that I like to see guys compete. And he's in the finals, guys. I mean, he's getting swept, but anybody would have got swept in this finals, including Boston or anyone else. And so I choose to kind of celebrate all the great things that he's done. And back to your question about why kind of didn't sound that great with his teammates, because history is going to absolve him.
Yeah.
History is going to say you're the greatest of all time and not even remember who was on this team. We were talking about Boobie Gibson earlier. He had 25 on us in the Pistons, and one day you're going to remember the guys that he's played with, the coaches he's played with, and I just think he's done such a great job that right now it's just cool to honor him and not make him do anything. Because if he goes to the Lakers, doesn't make the playoffs, then everybody's going to be saying, all those fans and media are going to be saying he's the worst ever.
But if he wants to go, Chuck, and we don't know,
Yeah.
right?
It's his own decision.
Yeah.
You're okay with that, though?
No,
because
I'm
what
not
you're
okay with that.
Okay, you're not.
I wasn't okay when Kevin went to the Warriors.
But I thought you said it's his decision.
Yeah, but I don't have to agree with it.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't have wore that suit you got. I disagree
Dude,
with
my
you.
suit's nicer than the suit you got
I'm
on.
just kidding. Don't be sensitive, little
Not as
fella.
expensive.
First of all, it's not expensive.
It's definitely not as expensive.
Hey, Garanimos are not expensive.
Oh, please, I didn't want to hear it.
Oh, listen, wherever LeBron goes, we have to accept it. That don't mean we have to agree with it. Him being here is great for the NBA. It's great for this community. Like I say, Kevin is a great player and a great guy. I didn't agree with him going to the Warriors because he made them pretty much unbeatable. That would have probably been, and listen, go back to last year when neither one of these teams lost a game to the finals. Like, that's not competitive ballot. We knew 7 months ago it was going to be the Rockets and the Warriors in the West and probably LeBron in the East. That's not competitive ballot. That's already out there. And that's not fun for me to come to work. I want to see, like, even Michael Jordan when they won, listen, we can go back and look. There are a couple times against the Knicks we thought they were going to lose. There were a couple times against the Pacers we thought they were going to lose. Yeah. Think about this, Casey. Last year was the first time, and people talk about, there were super teams in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, but they built it the right way. But they still never played each other 3 years in a row in the playoffs. Now we're going on year 4. Think about that. Everybody talk about all those great teams from back in the day. They never played the same teams every year. First time ever 3 years in a row. Now 4 years in a row, the same teams.
I'm just going back to the suit.
Listen, you better loosen that button before you put Grant's eye out.